let alone.
Good evening and welcome. It is the ILFL Soccer Night here, your Monday night show and your last one for this year. So let's make it a good one. Let me not talk anymore and let's just kickstart the whole program and start with the Premier Division clash between Stepney and Sire. Sire still one of those football teams who just cannot find any form that they can call their own this season. And Stepney, the reigning champions, still trying to hang on to the coattails of the team who are at the top. It was a game that was must-win for both teams. We have highlights from that fixture for you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, spot the deliberate mistake. We started out with Stepney v Sire there, but we crossed into the game that we're going to see a little bit later. But no harm done. We can tell you that Stepney won the game by 2-1, and 2-1 for Stepney over a Sire team. Does that reflect what exactly happened, or are Stepney now grinding to, not to a sudden halt, cameras, but they're on a little bit of a go slow, it seems?
To be honest, Stepney haven't had the best of seasons with momentum this year, but a sign of a true champion, a sign of a good team is they're grinding out the results.
Absolutely.
They're still in the mix, they're still second in the division, and they're one of the few teams that can still challenge Tigers for the title, so I wouldn't rule them out.
Absolutely. So can Sire take heart from that then, Rash, and say, well, it was a credible performance and that's what they're looking for at this stage of the season?
That's the only positive I can see, considering they're playing against the champions, losing by the odd goal. Considering they've been getting a lot of goals recently, I think they'll say, you know what, we'll take that in the chin. That's not the priority. The priority is for them to play against other teams around them in the league to obviously avoid the relegation. So I'm sure they'll concentrate on the games, not with Stepney, but other teams after the Christmas period.
A couple of the other results that we saw from yesterday saw London Tigers beating Brick Lane by 7-2 to confirm their status and position at the top of the division. And another big scoring game in the Premier Division was Beaumont going down by 6-1. Rash, do you want to talk? I know you weren't there, but do you want to talk about that? I mean, we keep talking, like I said, slightly in jest about Beaumont, and we keep waiting for their season to start, and it just doesn't look like it ever has.
It was an embarrassing result, to be honest, because obviously there's two big clubs, and obviously Bromley probably had the upper hand in terms of the squad and the players they have. But 6-1 is a thrashing, and not too pleased with the scoreline. So hopefully after the Christmas period, there'll be a few things sorted out in the Beaumont camp to, you know, sort the positions out, sort the players out. Management will need to sort things out, because to get 5 draws and then to get beaten, thrashed, is quite embarrassing, even for a size, for a club like Beaumont. And to be in the position they are in, it's not looking good. So there will be a lot said in the next 2 weeks within the Beaumont camp.
I think what should be said without that performance of the week has to go to Baha, who scored all 6 goals against Beaumont. Well done to you, Baha, establishing your status as a top striker, as you always have been in the Inner London Football League. Let's take a look at the Premier Division table as it stands at the end of 2013, and we can see that London Tigers are, I suppose, where they were in January of this year. Top of the table, except it's the Premier Division and not the first this time. 28 points from 12 games, but Stepney are there. And 6 points is not a huge gap, but it does mean that Tigers would have to lose 2 games. Cameras, is that something that we can see happening? I mean, Stepney would have to win everything. We know they're champions and they're capable of winning all their games now, but for Tigers to lose another 2?
I mean, mathematically it's not impossible, but Tigers have had a blip in the middle of this part of the season. To be honest, I can only see them getting stronger and better, and whilst they're sitting pretty at the top at the moment, they'll use those 2 weeks to think about what the next half entails, and they'll only get stronger and better. I think they will win the league quite clearly.
Bold prediction right here at Christmas, although it has to be said that in those 12 games, Tigers did lose 2. Not inconceivable that they could lose another 2 in the next 3-4 months. Bromley, now with their 6-1 win, have now pushed themselves up into third, 2 points behind Stepney with a game in hand. Then Brick Lane, Island and Cannon. But the bottom 3 now are Sire, Beaumont now in 8th place, and Newark, who have risen above them, albeit we still have to say Beaumont have 3 games in hand over the team above them. So still, no panic?
I'm not panicking. I think I have the belief and the trust in the squad to get out that relegation battle with the games in hand. Is actually with Sire and the teams around it. So even we'll take a draw and move up the ladder, considering where we had at one time.
That's confident stuff. I should say, we did say that it was the last game of the year has just gone. It's time for everybody to take a break, relax and enjoy the festive holiday break that you will get. There will be 1 game back on the 5th of January in the Premier Division, and that is Sire versus Beaumont. Is this the one that they call the classic 6-pointer?
That is a classic 6-pointer, nothing but a win, and trust me, we'll make sure that, especially in the Beaumont camp. I don't know about Sire, but definitely in the Beaumont camp.
Just coming back to what I said about Tigers, I think we all need to appreciate that there isn't 6 games left as there should be. There are only 4 games left. which makes it even harder for Tigers to lose. Which is
There is that, but should we say they're not out of some of the other cups at the moment?
No, I
as
mean,
well,
like,
so
yeah,
a distraction could.
they're in the League Cup as well, but the football they played last year is only half what they're going to play this year. They were in the Champions Cup, they were in the Challenge Cup, the League Cup, and the League for last year. So you can imagine the amount of football they've played, and they won 3 out of those 4 titles. So this year they're a lot more relaxed, a lot less games. I think, other than the League Cup, they've got the Premiership to focus on, and I think it'll be pretty academic for them, really.
Yeah, saying that, Cameron, though, the team they lost against was Cannon, and they drew against Ireland. So it's not against the big clubs they have problems. It's the other teams they have problems with. Yeah, so there will be, obviously, I think the other 4 games remaining, I think they will drop points.
They still have to go back and play. So they'll have to go back and have to play Stepney.
Yeah.
They still have to play Bromley again. Would they still have to play Beaumont?
Yes, yeah, that was a close game as well. That was a very close game.
And I still see all of those as big games, despite whatever the discrepancy is in the table. They are still big games for Tigers, aren't they?
That's definitely so. They're still, I think, out of the 4 games, they need to win obviously 3 to make sure, but there's a possibility.
There is definitely a possibility. That is the Premier Division all wrapped up in a nutshell. You did see earlier some highlights of another game which got crossed in the transmission there, which we are going to see between Leytonstone and Tower Hamlets. That's the game you're going to see in the second half of the show. We're also going to round up all of the ILFL and Shanali Otis Veterans League action that happens on a Thursday, and people are still talking about it. I've been places outside of here, and people are talking about the Vets League and how it's almost overtaking the Sunday football as an entertaining piece of football. We've got Nanu coming in to speak about that later on as well. Everything to come in the final part of the show, and we'll also have 1 or 2 of our guests, if they can make it here in the traffic, from 1 or 2 of the teams that you will see later on in the show. So stick around, and we'll be back after this short break on the ILFL Soccer Night. See you shortly.
You are watching ILFL Soccer Nights.
Sponsored by Mashuri এবং Hawk and Eagle.